Hello, everyone. Let's see, this thing is so big. Let's get a new one. Yeah, I don't know. Need to find a little one. Hello, good afternoon. Can't find my other glasses, so you're getting glary glasses tonight. Okay. Hope everyone's doing well. My mouse decided to die on me right as I was signing in, so gotta find some batteries for that. All right, well, it's been a couple weeks. Had a few changes in my life. We'll talk about that. And uh thanks, Mickey. I get it from my mama. So give everyone a minute to join on. Yeah, had a lot going on, but everything's good. Everybody's healthy as can be, and we're just getting back into the swing of things. If you're just joining on, ignore the glasses. I get a lot of glare from these. I just don't know where my other ones are that I normally use. Can't seem to find them. They're probably not in here. I usually keep them in here. So I am having a good weekend. Off tomorrow, which is really nice. Jason's doing good. Jason's doing really good. He did his so he has to do maintenance chemo once a month. He did that. He came through like a champ. Of course, he was really exhausted. Uh, when you're doing that one, but it's a week and then he has 3 weeks off, which is really nice. So he's doing really good. Yeah. Hey, Diane. So yeah, we're all doing good over here. It's life ticks on. So, all right. So, let's see, where should I get started? So I've had a couple changes in my life over the past couple weeks. Back when Jason got sick, we spent a lot of time in hospital. We spent a lot of time in uh, medical offices. We spent a lot of time with medical professionals, and that gave me an idea. So I decided at that time that I would go to medical assisting course. And I did take a medical assisting course, and now I'm a medical assistant. I'm also took a phlebotomy course, phlebotomist. And hopefully eventually that'll take me a little bit further. For right now, we're going to see how far that goes. Of course, there's always all kind of schooling after that if you want to go a little further. And I'm thinking um maybe RN school eventually. That has no effect on, that will have and has no effect on what I do right now. I am no longer at Bernina Connection, the little shop that we all know and love here in Tallahassee. I miss them greatly. However, I wanted to be able to take care, it's I always say, or I don't know how to explain this without sounding silly, but I want to be able to take care of our family if need be. So thanks, Cindy. I'm really excited. My mom was a nurse for many years. She just retired. So my niece just graduated with her RN, her and her fiance. Yes, now fiance. We love it. So I kind of come from a background or a familiar background. And so never thought I would be doing this, but I am. And so I'm super excited. But again, this has nothing to do with Baby Lock or anything like that. I'm still staying with Baby Lock. They're very gracious, and you can, with what I do, I can do just like this, right? So it's going to have no effect, although you might see weird medical things happening on the group. I don't know why, like cute little stethoscopes and stuff. I don't know. So yeah, super exciting. I never thought I'd be in this position to do medical. I think my dad's really happy because he always wanted me or my sister to work in the medical field like my mother did. But I always thought that I would not be a good fit just because of squishy, smelly things. But taking care of Jason has really opened my eyes to it, and I fell in love with a lot of the medical professionals. And so now I'm working at an internal medicine office here in town that's connected to our hospital. Everyone there is very nice and they're very helpful. So I'm super excited. And again, this could lead to further things, but it may just do this right for right now. So super excited. I'm one of those people who love school. I always have. I love education. So I will study anything. I'm a researcher. I love to research silly stuff, especially true crime stuff. I like that. There is a field that's called forensic nursing, so I'm looking into that. So that might be kind of cool. So yeah, again, yes, Marianne, not leaving you. This is going to be every Sunday night. And that's not why I've been off for the past couple weeks. The past couple weeks is just pure exhaustion for number one. Number two, I had to have a skin cancer removed off my back that was a little larger than they expected. So I wasn't really able to sew or lift anything. So I have this nice giant scar on my back right now, and it's right in the shoulder area. So, it's much better now. But that's what happens when you're fair and you live in Florida. That's just part of it. And so that kind of knocked me down for a while. It really did make me feel icky. It was almost like having surgery. It was pretty bad. And then, and then last week we had some family in town from Jason's side of the family, and we were spending the day with them. So that was really fun. And then this week, let's get over all that. Just wanted to put that out there to you guys because you're my friends, and I'm sure you will, especially those friends that are in Tallahassee and they won't see me at the shop, you now know why. Because we really didn't put it out there. I'm one of those people who likes to tell my story once and I'm done telling it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Oh yeah, Diane, isn't that cute? Isn't that adorable? I can't remember. Okay, so there's a girl on Etsy, or I'm sorry, that I saw on Instagram that makes these, and I'll pop a link up later if I remember. If y'all remind me, I'll pop a link up, and she's on Etsy and she makes these cute little shirts, and I was like, God, I gotta have it. So I love t-shirts in general. They're just so comfy, and now that they make them to fit women correctly, you know what I mean? They're not the big bulky ones. These that people have been making the cutest ones. Yeah, so yeah, if y'all remind me, if y'all want to know, I will put a link up to her Etsy site and you can go look at her t-shirts. They're really cute. So thank you for all your kind words here. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be a change. And like I was talking to Hope yesterday, this was the funny part. I was talking to Hope yesterday, and we were talking about the change because for years, yeah, I traveled a lot and I worked really, really hard. And at the shop, I only worked 4 days a week. In retail, it is exhausting, but I never knew. I haven't worked like this hard in my life. So like these past, now I'm working full time, 5 days, and you medical professionals, y'all work your honeys off. Let me tell you, I was just like every night. I'm a night person. I'm not a morning person. So every night I would be like, Jason, let's go to bed. It was like 9:30. I'm like dead. so yeah. Whew, whew, whew. Okay. All right. So thank you all. And let's see, what are we going to talk about today? Well, so if you're in the States and you're watching this in the States, we know that tomorrow is our Memorial Day. And coming also from a family that is full of veterans, the military and soldiers and all that is super, super near and dear to my heart. My father is retired Air Force. My grandfather was retired Air Force. My other grandfather was Navy, and it just keeps going and going and going. So anytime there's a holiday or a remembrance, it's very important to us to remember those people who fought for my freedom or your freedoms. So tomorrow's Memorial Day, and I thought I would do something to remember, to help remember those who have fallen for us. And I also think that soldiers doesn't even apply to the term just military. I think personally, the soldiers in our lives that have helped us throughout are teachers, educators. I know it's different, but teachers, educators, medical professionals, our police force, our firefighters, all that. So to me, this is for all those people who have fought for everything for us. And even though I think this started as an English tradition, meaning over in England, I could be wrong. I tried to do a little quick research and I just didn't have that much time. The poppy, which was my grandfather's name for us, or meaning that's what we called him. So it's a really cool term. The poppy is worn in remembrance for our fallen protectors. And so I just thought I was sitting there thinking, how could I do this, but make it a little bit, how could I make a poppy and make it a little more jazzy and use a little bit more skills in IQ Designer? And I came up with this idea. So I just finished this a little while ago. So what this is kind of like a 3D poppy. Okay, so you've seen these out there, and we know that we can buy designs that are already made like this to where you have an applique on the background, and then you have a freestanding flower. But I'm like, well, we can do that in IQ Designer. It just takes a few steps. And this one is really easy to do. So what you see here is I do have an applique back here, and I know that that color is so bright. So the techniques that I used is creating an applique off of a clip art. Okay, so you can see the poppy outline there. And then I used a fill for just this background area. Also created a freestanding poppy. And this is with organza, 2 layers of organza. And I ordered this organza from Zandra Shaw's site. So you can find organza everywhere, but I like to support those who support me. And so definitely go to Zandra's embroider shop. I'm not sure which one, because now she's got the new fabric shop as well. So you can buy organza from her. You can buy it from Evie Hawkins at A Bit of Stitch. There are so many places. And y'all know I'm not a red fan, but I was so surprised I had red organza. It was harder for me to find the red fabric in my stash than it was for me to find my organza. And then I just put a little saying at the bottom, lest we forget. And the fabric is some Hope Yoder fabric. This is, oh gosh, she would kill me, but I cannot remember which one this is from. But I love this fabric. It's a great background fabric. It's just a little white with random polka dots. Let's see. Trudy. Oh, okay. I was wondering about this, Trudy. Okay, good. So the poppy is what we, and she's in New Zealand, Australia, New Zealand, use for ANZAC Day. It's a National Remembrance Day on the 25th of April. So yay. Well, then this will work for you then. Yay, I'm excited. Or you can find other flower shapes out there and do this, maybe like a daisy. I was thinking about doing that too, is taking other flower shapes that are a little more flat, meaning not like a rose or a tulip, and like a daisy or something like that. And we could build like a little spring one as well. So yeah, what's this? Jenny put up poetry. Jenny, I'm assuming that is a poem about the poppies and stuff. That's really cool. Thanks. So we're gonna walk through how to do this. Yes, I can see that I'm terrible at cutting when it comes to straight things. So that's my binding. I do have this pretty fabric on the back. So yeah, you can build it however you want. This one, I did go ahead and add a stipple background using IQ Designer. So you can do that, make a little, wall hanging or whatever. Also, what I'm going to stitch it out in front of you guys on is actually it's a napkin, but it's made of the tea towel material. So you could do it on a tea towel. So we're doing like a faux tea towel. So you can stitch it out on whatever you want. Oh, Jenny, here it's a poem that talks about the fallen. Thanks for putting that up. I'll read it a little bit later. That's awesome. In Flanders Fields. Okay, cool. So hey, Brenda, I see you on there. Hey, Laura, I did get your text. I'm sorry. I'll text you back tonight. In Flanders Field. Okay. Okay, cool. So there we go. So that's what we're going to do today. And what we need, if you want to make this now, is something to stitch on. It could be a tea towel. You could be making a little, wall hanging. You can do it however you want on that. So I'm not going to get crazy about that, but this is what you will need for the flower itself. So I have a piece of just regular quilting cotton. This is a plain piece of red. And what I prefer to have for applique is something on the back, like a webbing or something like that. And I'm using the Hot Fix today. There are multiple out there. There are so many different ones. Baby Lock carries one. Embellish carries one. Floriani carries one. I'm sure Pellon has one, but it's a fusible webbing. Oh, Steam-A-Seam works. So whatever you have. And the reason why I use that on my appliques is when it gets washed, let's say it's on a shirt, like a little kid's shirt, you see a lot of appliques. If you fuse them, it sets it to the shirt. And so when it gets washed, it doesn't crinkle up. And I'm sure you've seen that before. So, and to me, it just makes the applique look so much, I don't know how to explain it, maybe stronger, healthier, more body. So, so I have that on the back of my applique fabric. Then what I have, and I went ahead and hooped up, is, now it depends on the main flower, the big main flower, what you're going to stitch it on tea towel, or if you're going to make the little wall quilt or whatever, what stabilizer you're going to use for that. It just depends on what you're stitching on. So for this, I fused it to some fusible fleece. And that's what y'all know, that's one of my favorite things to do, fuse my fabric to fusible fleece and then hoop it with no-show mesh and then stitch it out and slap a backing on there and add a binding. For a tea towel, I personally like to use a sticky tearaway. Some people use a sticky wash away. It's really whatever you want to use. But for our organza flower, what you need is, I did 2 layers of organza. So I've got 1 and 2 here. Hoop. And then I've got a wash away. Now this is important. You'll need a wash away. Otherwise your stabilizer is going to be there. If you didn't have organza, can you use something else? Can you use cotton fabric? Yeah, of course you can. Just don't put the webbing on the back. Just do it the same way. You don't need 2 layers of the material, but you do need a wash away. So whatever you want to use, it's really up to you. But organza just makes everything prettier, makes it softer, sweeter. You could use tulle. There's okay, yeah, no, don't use that. Okay, I was about to say there's English cotton netting, but you wouldn't want to use that. There's regular tulle, like I guess it's a polyester tulle, and you can use that. You could use a really cool, like a silk material would be really pretty, like Dupioni silk is beautiful for this type of flower, all that. Okay, well, so that's what I have. That's it. But what we're going to do is we're going to start by designing the big flower first, and we'll have like a little bitty stitch that will stitch this on. I know I'm not going to show you how to do this one first, but that's okay because we're going to do the big one first. We're going to design it. We're going to save it. Then we're going to go design the little girl right here, and we're going to stitch this one first, and then we'll stitch this one, attach it to it. And you can see it's attached by the center of the flower, which y'all know, always forget that, whatever that's called. And then we will finish it up. And you don't have to put a saying. You can do whatever you want. This is totally up to you. So let's get started. Okay. Let me make sure there is no crest. You have frozen up. I have frozen up. Uh-oh. I see on my screen that I'm not frozen. So if your screen ever freezes, log out of the live and then sign back on or come back in. Usually that helps. So, okay. I'm just making sure there are no questions real quick. Oh, Mickey. Yeah, that's what I had. I had Moe's. Yeah, yeah. Ooh. My dad had that too, that exact same area. Yeah, and he had to plus. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I've seen that. Hey, Mindy. Yeah, we've been going through quite a bit of stuff. So you can go back around the what was it, guys? I came back in like January and gave an update. If you go back that far, you'll see an update. Okay, perfect. Okay, looks like we're good. So I'm going to switch over, and as you know, if you have any questions, just type them in. I will be monitoring those, and we'll get started. My mouse isn't working. I want to have to use my hands, not my mouse. Okay. All right. We're going to switch over. And there she is. All right. I am doing it on the Solaris today. And the reason why I haven't done anything on my Meridian lately is because it's in, it's not in my room. And so I'm too lazy to bring it back. So we'll get that back in. And next week, whatever we'll do it on the Meridian. And again, please let me know if you have questions. I'm going to grab my drink here. I'm just taking a sip real quick, guys. All right. Woo. Okay. All right. Now, earlier, I posted in the group a picture of a poppy. And let's see, I'll pull it up on my phone and show you. I've done multiple videos. There's my poppy. Multiple videos on how to send those over to your machine. I'm going to quickly go back through that using the app. Of course, if you open this up on your computer, you can save it to a USB stick and bring it over to the machine that way. Or you can print this out, and if you have a Solaris or a Destiny, put it on your scan map and scan. But we're just going to use the app. And I'm just going to go over here to my IQ positioning app. My machine is on, so it will allow me to do this when my machine's on. Can y'all see that okay? You can see it. And I'm going to do select image for creating design. I will select the image. There we go. And then I'm just going to send to the machine. And it'll send it right over. And where that's going to be and where it's living right now is in IQ Designer. Let me get y'all pulled back up because there's no question. Okay, so I can see your questions. There we go. Okay, so again, like I said, we're going to start out building the big flower first. We'll get to the small flower, but we're going to do the big flower first. All right, here we go. So we're going to go first to IQ Designer. And again, like I said, once you bring it over to your machine, it's going to be living in here inside of IQ Designer. It's not in your embroidery. We have to make it embroidery. So depending on what machine you're on, you're going to look either for like a little leaf, or you may see some boxes that say line design or something like that. If you see the boxes that say line design, go ahead and click on that. If not, we're going to use the little leaf, and then I'm going to select line design. It'll bring me up to this page. And if you did it the same way I did it through the app, we're going to select this little icon right here, which is a Wi-Fi icon. Something on the screen. Okay. If you put it on a USB, it's going to be here, or if you're going to scan it, you'll select scan. So I'm going to select my Wi-Fi, and it's always going to be the last thing that you sent is going to be up at the top. So we're right there. And I'm going to hit set. And when this one comes in, it comes in really, really large. It came in at 8 inches. We're going to shrink it down quite a bit, but we're not going to do that here. But I just want you to be mindful of that it will show you how tall, or excuse me, how wide and tall it is. So at this point, I'm just going to say, okay. If it had, excuse me, if it had some like writing or something else out here, you can use your boxes to crop that out, but it's fine. So I'm going to select OK, and then I'm going to hit set. Now it always comes in with the background filled, excuse me, let me start over. That's not what I meant. It always comes in where you can see the background. You can see the white here and all that. I like to take it all the way down until I cannot see that background image. It keeps my eyes from going crazy. But here is our puppy. And how I found that is I just went into Google, typed in puppy clip art, black and white, and this is what I decided on. And the reason why I decided on this one is because it already has this little circle here, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But the first thing that we want to do is you need to make sure the red box is on the outside of your design, because that way we can change the size. So I'm going to click size, and I'm going to change this size proportionally to about 4.5. So I'm going to use my proportionally smaller button right here and just press and hold until it gets to about 4.5. There we go. And then I'm going to say OK. And there it is. So the first thing that I'm going to do, since I created the exact size I want, and I don't want to keep recreating this, is I'm going to save it to memory. So I have a key that says memory. On your screen, you may see a little pocket like this, but it has the arrow going inside of it versus outside of it. So go ahead and select that. I'm going to select memory, and I'm going to save it to the machine. That way, I have my first design saved, and I don't have to keep on remaking the same thing. So I can just pull it back up, and makes life so much easier. So when we're talking about an applique, we have 3 parts of an applique, correct? So we have the placement, we have placement line. That is the line that stitches out, so you can lay your fabric directly on top of it. Then we have our tack down line, which is going to tack down the fabric to the fabric. After that, we trim outside of the lines. And then your third line is going to be your finish up line. So it could be a satin stitch, it could be a candle wicking, it could be raw edge, it could be whatever you wanted. Today, we are going to, we're going to use a satin stitch. Okay, Sally says, how did you take your design and put it in picture text and then send it to your machine? Sally, so what we do, okay, so let me quickly show you all that again. So, okay, All right, so if you go to Google, I'm just using Safari right now, and you type in, let's say, actually, I'm going to start over because if we go back to Facebook, I put that up for you guys in the group. So I'm going to go to Facebook, and if you scroll in the group, you're going to see the picture right there. Now, depending what type of phone you have, you may have an Android phone, which I don't know how you save your pictures. But in a iPhone, you can just tap on the picture, hold, save photo, and it saves to your pictures. And I have tons of videos on this if you ever need to go back and watch. So what it'll do is it'll save it. Let's go back here. It'll save it into my pictures. There it is. So I know it's there. So what I want to do is go to IQ Positioning. So you have to have the app. You just download that at in the App Store. Open it up. And then you're going to select image for creating design. I'm going to tap on the one that I want to use, and then I'm going to send it to the machine. Now your machine has to be on. Your Wi-Fi has to be connected to it. And you have to be on the exact same network. So in order for this to work. The other thing you can do is open this image up in your computer, on a computer, and you can save this image to a USB stick, and you can put it into your machine over on the side, and we can open it up the same way by using our little leaf up here. So I hope that helped some. I know it's a big process, but I have a lot of videos if you ever need to go back and rewatch that process on getting a clip art from your phone. Sure, Sally, from your phone or wherever. I know that was kind of a quick overview, Sally, but it's if you ever remember, I have a list in the files section of videos, and they have links. So that means you can just click on it and start watching the video, which is really nice. You don't have to go searching for it. I try to make it easy for everyone to find the videos. So hopefully that'll help. Okay, so we've got our first design, and she's right here, and we've already saved her to memory. So remember, we've got our 3 steps. We've got placement, tack down, and finishing stitch. So this one's going to start out as our placement. Now I'm just going to zoom in so you guys can see it better. And there she is. The first thing I want to do is for the very first stitch, I'm not going to use this little circle. We're going to eventually use this little circle, but we're not going to use it right now. So what we can do is grab our eraser and just erase that little circle for right at the moment and say, okay. Then your poppy's not fully connected. You may have to go in there, Laura, and take your pencil and zoom in and draw them to connect them. So that means you would have to zoom in. Let me find it real quick. And let's say this line was broken. I'll actually undo it here. I'll break this line here. Let's say, and it just happens on whatever. This happens on everything. Not everything's going to be perfect. So if you have a broken line, what you need to do is you can come up to your line properties, and you can click on your pencil and you can draw that line. This is not going to be pretty, but it doesn't matter if it's completely pretty because you're never going to notice it. So you can see how I've drawn my line. Let me get this back centered. Okay, I'm going to fix that. Okay, so that's an easy fix, super easy fix. Okay, but what we do need to do is tell this line what we need it to be. Okay, and this line needs to be a running stitch because that's what our first placement stitch is. It's always, why does my poppy still have a rectangle And Kathy, is it red? Is it a red rectangle? Let me know. Or is it, if it's a white one, you can use your little leaves up here, or I'm not sure which machine you're on, and you can go towards the lightest leaf and it'll disappear. Okay, so what we need to do is turn this one into a running stitch. Right now, it's nothing. It's basically just a drawing. So we're going to come up to our line properties right up here. That is that first grouping of 4 icons right here. And we are going to select this little piece of paper right here. And then we're going to select, these are all of our properties for our design, or to create a design. And we're going to select the running stitch, which is the 2 lines. And then we're going to select a color. I'm going to do this dark blue and say, okay. It doesn't matter what color, it's just to help you know that your line has changed. So what we want to do now is in the line properties, we want to make sure we select the bucket. It's very important that you select the bucket. So I'm going to tap on the bucket and then I'm going to tap on the line. And what happens is I can see that this is all turned blue. It's kind of hard for you to see the color, but I can see that it all turned blue. And even if I'm unsure, I can always tap it again and it makes this little knock knock sound. That means, Anna, you've done it, you're good. And I'm gonna say, okay. Okay, kind of gray, I have them ready. And does it look like this? Wait, let me go back. Let me zoom out. Can you see that? Does it kind of look like that, Kathy? If so, that's just the background. Otherwise, I'm not quite sure. You may have done, instead of, make sure when you bring something in, you don't hit image, scan, or illustration. You always want, for what we're doing today, is going to be line design. I'm not quite sure, Kathy. You may want to closer to the middle of my copy. I'm not quite sure what that is. I would have to physically see it to see what's happening. Kathy, do this for me. And just, I want you to hit next on just Kathy, hit next. And if you see it over in the next screen, that means that we might want to start over. It could be, but you have to, that could be it. That's a good, Diane, that's a good, so Kathy, let's look at this real quick before you do anything. Right up here in your settings, if you, let me get off of that. Okay. In your settings, if you have a frame selected that's like a small frame, like this, you might see a box like that. I don't know if y'all can see it on my screen. You may see something like that. And that's not going to affect anything right now. It will affect everything later. So what you want to do to turn that off, that's the box. Okay, so good, perfect. Thanks, Diane, because that was a big help. Okay, so if you, Kathy, if you go up here to your, oops, let me turn it off. If you go up here and click that and then say frame size, I would do the largest frame size you can do. That way it's out of the way and it's not affecting anything and you don't see it. So I think yours is going to be 9.5 by 14, I believe, is if you're on the Meridian. So, see, I like when things happen like this because if it happens to someone else, they'll know what to do. Perfect. Okay. All right. So we've got our first lines. Let's put it that way. And let me zoom back in just so you can see it better. So what you can see is you have your placement line. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you to save this one as well. So let's select memory. And then we're going to select our sewing. So Since this is a placement line, all I'm going to do now is select the word next. We're done with this. Yay, Kathy. Thanks, Diane. So we're going to select next. And we're not going to do anything from here. We don't need to change it. We're going to leave everything the same. You can make, if you want to make your run pitch a little longer, you can, but I never really do. I just leave it. It's fine. It works for me. So if you are on an Altair Meridian or a Destiny, at this point, you're going to hit preview, okay, set, okay. And if you're on a Solaris, you're going to hit set, okay, or the Brother Like machine. Now what happens is we are in the embroidery side of your machine. We're outside of IQ Designer. This is where if we've got everything built, it's going to embroider out. So there is an easy way to create a second one of these over here, but I like to give you guys as much practice in IQ Designer as possible. So what we're going to do is select the add key. So let's select add. You'll find IQ Designer somewhere on your screen. So let's select IQ Designer. And then we're going to recall that last flower that we Laura, so if you go up to, Laura says, I still have a red cross in the middle of my poppy. That's actually most likely something in the settings. So if you go up to settings and you look for the word right under frame size, you might see something that says grid. You may have this one selected with the little red crosshair, and that's just showing the center. It's actually okay if you don't want it there. I don't like it being there. You just select the one without that little crosshair there. Okay. All right, so what we want to do now is we've got our placement line. Let's keep going. We've got our placement line. Now we want to make our tack down line. So we saved that in our to our machine. So what I want you to do is find the button that has the pocket with the arrow going outside. So let's click that. And the one that we're going to select, remember we've selected two. Don't worry about what I've got going on here. You're always, the last ones you save are going to be up in the top left. So what I want you to do is select the one without the little circle in the center. So let's click on that and say okay. And this is going to be super easy. Ready? So now what we're going to do is we're going to select next. And what you want to be mindful of is, does this have a zigzag or two straight lines? We want two straight lines. And if it does, if you're on an Altair Meridian or a Destiny, what you're going to do is hit preview okay, set okay. And if you're on a Solaris, we're going to hit set okay. And what's going to happen now, if you look at my screen right here, we have two of them sitting right on top of each other. We have our placement line and our tack down line. Okay. But I want to add a fill, and hopefully y'all can see this. I want to add a fill before my satin stitch. So we're going to add a fill in there first. So again, we're going to go to Add, IQ Designer, and we're going to recall that same shape. So we're going to come back up to our recall button, which is, and again, yours may be down here or somewhere else, this pocket with the arrow going outside of it. So let's select that. And we're going to grab that same one, the one without the circle in the center. And we're going to say, okay. Now this is where we get to have our fun. We get to play with our fills, right? Okay. So, but the one thing that we are going to do is we're going to turn this line, and I'm going to zoom in. Let me zoom in. We're going to turn this outside line off, meaning I don't want that to stitch again, but I want to use the shape. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to come to our little line properties box, and we're going to use our little piece of paper right here. And then we're going to come down here, and with our properties, we're going to look for this one right here. It's the no sew icon. And I'm going to tap on that, and you can see everything grays out. And I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to make sure my bucket is on. It is not, because it's not highlighted. So I need to tap it, and I'm going to tap the line. And you'll be able to see it a lot better on your screen. You'll see it turns like a dark gray versus a black. And that's what you want. So now let's play with our fills already. This is one of our favorite things to do. What I want you to do is go to the grouping of icons, the 4 icons. Right below our line properties is our fill properties. And you'll see that same little piece of paper right there. But let's tap on that, and now we're in our fill property. Not only can we make it a full fill stitch like this guy here, we can use stipple, or if we tap on the little one that looks like a bunch of little bubbles and then hit select to the side, we have all of these beautiful quilting type fills. And so take a quick moment and find the one that you want to use for your flower. I used this one earlier, 004. Now, you may not have as many as me because I have the highest upgrade, but you have a ton in there. If you have Altair, Meridian, or a Destiny 2, you should have a bunch of them to play with. I was just looking at this one. I'm going to select this one right now. So once you select one, go ahead and say okay, and choose a color. Earlier I used gray. I'm going to try with gray again, and I'm going to say okay. And what you'll notice on your screen is you can barely see that shape, right? It's grayed out. Don't worry about that. Nothing wrong. Your machine's not broke. What we do need to do, though, is come back over here to our fill properties and select our little bucket right here. We're not selecting the bucket at the top. We're selecting the second bucket. And I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to tap in the middle of my flower. Ta-da! There it is. Now, this isn't what it's going to look like per se. It's just saying, hey, I've got this filled in. So once you find the one that you want inside of your flower, what we're going to do is now select the word next. Now, because I am on a Solaris, I'm going to zoom this in a little bit. It'll show me in real time what it's going to look like. And you notice there's no outline around my flower. That's what I want. If you see an outline, let's say if you're Altair, Meridian, or Destiny, you can choose the key. It has like a little box with some bubbles in it, and it may say on. This is your outline. Go ahead and make sure it's clicked to off, and it would be down here in the bottom. The other thing that we can do is we can change the size of the stitching. So I'm going to go up to my 100% here where it says 100%, and I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to spread it out a little bit. So I'm going to go up, let's see what 130 is. That's fine. I'm happy with that. That'll be fine. That'll look cool. So you can play with that. Now, if you're on an Altair, Meridian, or Destiny, you can't see in real time the change. So if you went from 100 to 130 like I did, and you see nothing change on the screen, nothing's wrong with your machine, you just have to select the preview button down at the bottom. So it'll say preview okay. Take a look at it before you hit set. Don't hit set. If you are unhappy with the way it looks, you're going to notice with the Altair, Meridian, or the Destinies that they have a return button, and select that. But if you're done and you are happy with that, and you're on Altair, Meridian, or a Destiny, and you're in the screen and you see preview right here, hit preview okay, And if you're happy with the way it looks, hit set OK. If you are in the Solaris, you are going to select set OK if you are happy with the way it looks. So I'm going to select set OK. And now there we go. There's my design. So I've got my placement line. I've got my tack down line. After my tack down, I'll trim my fabric. Then I have my pretty fill stitch. Now what we need to do is have our outside finishing line. So again, we're going to come right down here to our add button. So we'll say add IQ Designer. We're going to go back to our recall button, which is the pocket with the arrow going to the outside of it. And then I'm going to select that same one that I've been using right here and say OK. There we go. But I'm going to zoom in for you. I need to tell this outside what line to be. Now on here, as you can see, I used a satin stitch on the outside. Remember, we're ignoring this guy for right now. So I'm going to use a satin stitch. So we saved it earlier as a running stitch, right? So we need to change that. So we're going to come up to our line properties right up here at the top. That's that grouping of 4 icons. We're going to click on our little piece of paper. And then we're going to make sure that if what we want to do is make sure that this one, the zigzag, is selected. So I'm going to tap that, and I'm going to choose a different color. So I'm going to do green. You can choose whatever color you want. It doesn't matter. And then I'm going to select OK. Now what I want to do is I want to come back to my 4 icons up here at the top, my line properties, and I want to select the bucket, and I'm going to tap it. And mine turned green. I know it's a little hard to see, but mine turned green. Yours should turn the color that you decided on. And then when I take it next over to the next editing screen, so let's select next. If you're on a Solaris, you're going to be able to see this real time, but if you're on a Altair Meridian or Destiny, you won't be able to see real time the satin. That's okay. All I want you to do is where you see this icon right here with the zigzags going up and down, and there's a little blue arrow going up and down, and it may say 0.80, or if you have yours in millimeters, it might say something else. But I have mine in inches. I'm going to tap on that, and I'm going to make my zigzag wider. And the reason why I'm doing that is because when you have an edge that you need to encapsulate, an applique that you need to encapsulate, if you have it tiny, tiny satin stitch, you're going to get pokies. We don't like pokies. So I'm going to move it up to, in inches, 0.160 inches and say OK. Okay, Norma, have a good one. And once I push OK, it'll incorporate. There we go. Now, here's the thing. I was just saying that if you have it in inches or millimeters, some people do things in millimeters. So let me see. I'm going to change it over to millimeters and see what it would be in millimeters. So those of you who like to work in millimeters, that would be 4.0 millimeters. But I'm going to move mine back to inches because I just read in inches much better. And you can find that in your settings. And when we're done with that, if you're on Altair Meridian or Destiny, you're going to hit preview OK, set OK. I'm on a Solaris, or if you're on the Brother Like machines, hit set OK. And there we go. We're actually almost done, guys, with this part. Almost done. Now, ideally, before we start sewing or embroidering, we're going to make this guy first, and this will come in a few minutes. but we need to be able to tack this piece down. So let's go back to add. And you're probably going to go, why are you making us work so hard? Number one, you're learning. Number two, it's kind of the correct way to do it. I mean, there's no real correct way, but there are some, things that are going to help in the long run, especially if you're going to learn how to design a lot. So we're going to come here to our recall button right here. And that, remember this pocket with the arrow going outside of it. We're going to click on it. And this time we're going to select the guy with the little circle in the middle. I'm going to click on that and say, okay. I'm going to zoom in for you guys so you can see. Now I'm going to turn this background off, completely off. So that means what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to my line properties. I'm going to click on the little piece of paper, and I'm going to click on the no-sew line. I'm going to select my bucket, and I'm going to tap just the outside flower. And then the little circle that we have in the middle, it's already there for us, so I don't have to design anything. This is going to be the guy that tacks down our fluffy flower, our organza flower. Okay, so we're going to go back to our line properties. We're going to select the running stitch, and you can choose a color. I'll do purple. I'm going to say okay. Making sure that bucket is still on, I'm just going to tap the little circle in the center. Make sure it's done. It's done. That is going to be my tack down for my little organza flower. Okay, just to hold it into place before it has that last final center of the flower stitch. I'm going to select next. And all you're going to see is that little bitty guy right there. Yes, that's going to be a stitch. We're going to hit set. Or if you're on Altair, Meridian, or Destiny, you're going to hit preview OK, set OK. All else, we'll hit set OK. And you can see it. You can barely see it. It's right in the middle, but it was perfect size. So I decided to leave it. One more thing we need to add is the center of the flower right here. Okay, now we're going to select add again. IQ Designer, you got it. And we're going to just create a circle. So at this point, you're just going to create, use our shapes key. So in here lives a ton of shapes. So let's select that as your circle and square. You're going to see you have a ton of them. You have, different folders of them. But today we're just going to use this circle because it's perfect for what we're doing. So go ahead and tap on that. Select OK, and it's going to come in ginormous. Okay. So what we want to do is select the word size, and we can see it's 6 inches. That's way too big. So we need to shrink it down. So we're going to use our proportionally smaller button, which is the box with the arrows going all the way in towards it. And we're going to change it to about 0.92. So I'm just going to press and hold this puppy down until it gets to where I want it to be. Almost there. There we go. And then I'm going to select OK. I'm going to zoom in. There we go. Now I want to fill it with a fill stitch. This part is so easy. So I'll just get started yet. Okay. So what we're going to do is use the fill properties right. We're going to select the little paper icon. Let's click on that. And what we want to make sure of is that this guy right here is selected. This is your all over fill stitch. So your let me take this little bead off. Someone so graciously made for me. So the fill stitch. So you see his little yellow face? That's all fill stitch right there. Okay. And you can select a color. I'll select a dark color. Say, okay, I'm going to make sure my bucket is on. And I'm going to tap it in the middle. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Now, what I don't want to stitch out, let me undo that. What I don't want to stitch out is this guy right here. So he will stitch out, but I don't want him to. So once I've got my fill in there, I can go back up to my line properties. Now this is up to you. You can leave that and let it stitch, but you want to change the stitch because it's going to stitch out as a satin stitch automatically, naturally. So what I'm going to do is go to this line property key right here, the little piece of paper, and I'm going to turn it off. So I'm going to click this guy, the no sew line, say okay, and you can see it shows up now. Oops. Let me go back. There we go. You can see it shows up. I'm going to select the bucket and I'm going to tap that line, and it will now not stitch out. But if you wanted it to stitch out and you wanted a running stitch or a triple stitch or candle wicking or whatever, you could have that around there. It's up to you. So now all we're going to do is select the word next. And it's just going to be this little bitty satin stitch. And I'm not going to change anything. It worked perfectly for me earlier with leaving everything at default. So we're just going to do that. Now, if you have an Altair Meridian or a Destiny, just go ahead, or the Brother Like Machines, go ahead and hit preview OK, set OK. On the Solaris, we will hit set OK, and there we go. Ta-da! Now here's the part where if you want to add any words, you can right now. And to do that, we can select the word add. You're going to go to your group, your folder number 3 for your fonts, and you're going to select whatever font you want. Let's see. Maybe I'll just put, I put Lest We Forget. You could put whatever you want. I really don't want anything on there for this one, but let's say I just put 2022. And I probably won't stitch that part out, but you can take and put it wherever you want. And then at this point, after you get your wording in there to whatever you want it to say, whatever you want it to do, you can arch it, you can play with it more. What I'm going to have you do is select the memory key and save it. This is important at this point. Otherwise, if we back out of this, we've done all this work for nothing. So I'm actually personally just going to remove this 2022 because I just want the flower to stitch out. And I'm going to select memory, save to machine. It's important. We're in the memory side. So what that means is that it is going to this is where it's going to stitch out. Okay, so we're going to go away from this here in just a couple minutes, and we need to be able to get back to it. So again, very important at this point, we select memory or the pocket with the arrow going inside it and save it to your machine. Because now what we're going to do is we're going to leave this area. Oh no, sounds scary, doesn't it? But if you've saved it, you're going to be fine. So we want to come up here to our little house icon right up at the top right. Click it, and it's going to say, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm going to say, yep, I've saved it, so I'm sure I want to do it. And now what we need to do, we've got the design ready for the background flower. Now let's make the little poppy here. This is so easy. This one's going to be so quick and easy, guys. Are we ready? Are we ready? So I want less for good on mine. How do I round the writing so it's not in a straight line? Okay. Yeah, let me go back. So let me do that before we move on. And I'll just pull my design back up. You're going to use array. Let's see. Let's hit. So let me do this, Diane. Space. Space 4. Okay. All right. So you can, from this screen that you type it in, array it, or you can do it in another area. And I'll show you in this screen and in the next screen. So if you look down at the bottom here, or depending on which machine you are, it might be somewhere else. You're going to select array. An array will allow you to actually array it. So you can arch it, you can slant it, you can curl it, you can do whatever you want. You can also adjust it if you need to down in here. And then we would just push over and then set. And there it is. So I could, oops, but what you want to be careful of is what I just did. There we go. You want to go to edit and move rather than try to pick it up because it's going to start picking up other aspects of the design. Okay. Now, let me just do something. Let me get out of here. I know I'm going to show you this in just a second. Okay. All right. Now, if we are over here and we forgot to array it back in where we typed it, all we have to do is go to edit. And you might see something that says font edit or a T for text. Tap on that T and your array is in there again. So I'm actually going to move it up a little bit more and then I can array it. And then there we go. And now all you have to do is hit set and you can play with it from there on. Okay, so now let's go create our little flower. So we are going to do this in IQ Designer, guys. This is going to be so fast. Do not blink. We're going to go to IQ Designer. We are going to recall the shape that we have been using the entire time. So I'm going to grab that by going to the pocket with the arrow coming outside of it. I'm going to use the one without the circle in the middle. Say okay. And then, watch this, we're going to go to size. We're going to use the proportionally smaller button. And we're going to bring it down to 3 inches. And let's see. Or if you're in millimeters, I will check to see what that is for you. Or 76.1. I'm going to put it back on inches for me. Oops. Okay, so there it is. When you're done, push OK. And now what we need to do, I'm going to zoom in just so you can see what's happening. I'm going to go to my line properties right up here. And this part's up to you, but I'm going to show you what I use. Line properties, little piece of paper, triple stitch, this one right here. Again, you can make a satin stitch, you can do a triple stitch. I don't care. This is your baby. So I'm going to use triple stitch. I'm just going to choose a color so I know it changed when I told it to. So I'm going to select my bucket. I'm going to tap on my line. And guess what? We're done. That's how quick this one is. So quick. I'm then going to select next. And if you hear a beeping in the background, that is just my dryer. We don't need to do anything over here in the editing screen. All we're going to do now is hit, if you have Altair, Meridian, or Destiny, or the Brother Like machines, you need to hit Preview OK, Set OK. If you're on a Solaris or a Brother Like machine, we're going to hit Set OK, and we're going to stitch this out now. That's how quick and easy that one was. I mean, like super duper easy. So let's do that one first. And you do need to make this one first. I already have one made, but don't worry about that because I want to show you how to get rid of the stabilizer and everything. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I have my thread in my machine. I'm just using my white bottom thread. I'm not doing anything special. I have my 2 layers of organza and my wash away stabilizer all hooped. Make sure you guys can see what's happening over here. I'm going to select the word embroidery at the bottom of my screen. And now all I have to do is slide this guy on. It may prompt me to say okay. And that is it for this first one. So we're going to let that stitch. It'll only take a second. It literally takes 1 minute. It's going to be a triple stitch. If you want a stronger stitch, you can go around it again, but this is all you need. I know about half of you. This is a 4x4. Just for this part, Laura. Just for this part. I know half of you are cringing right now because I'm about to waste all this organza. But if you are a stickler, you can just cut out like 2 5x5 pieces, hoop your stabilizer, and lay those on top. But y'all know me, I'm a waster. Okay, so I took that out, and with this one, I'm just going to trim right up to the line. I like to get my excess off first. Just go around. Don't fuss at me. You could use these little pieces of organza for later for little appliques if you want to, because you can use whatever you want in applique, right? We can use fabric. We can use heat transfer glitter, which we've done before. We can use organza. We can use whatever we want. So rid of that. Okay, so I'm just going to trim this really, really close. And these are my favorite applique shears. As you all guys all know, these are the ones from Quilter Select. And they are oh gosh, I can't remember the name of them, but they're duck bills, but they have a very, very, very sharp point at the top. And I need that. I like to get right up into where I'm at. Now, if you like kind of freestanding, or I'm sorry, raw edge stuff, you could leave 1/8 of an inch on the outside, and that would give it kind of a cute frayed look. That would be really cute because you could just spray the edges. That would be really pretty. Actually. I'm just going to trim, trim, trim. Make sure there's no question. Thanks, Diane. Okay, looking good here. Yeah, doesn't it look good? This almost looks like it. Well, it looks like a four-leaf clover, I guess. I don't know if this is the correct shape for a poppy, but it sure looks good to me. Okay, here we go. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Now I would take and dump this. I've cleaned these little guys off in the back here. And dunk this in water, which I have a bowl of water over here. I'm going to let it set for a few minutes. And because of movie magic, look, it's all done. Ta-da! And I still have a couple little guys I need to clean off there. Let me clean these up real quick. Okay. And there we go. There it is. Now we want to get whatever we're going to be stitching on. I'm pretending this is a tea towel. It's just a napkin that is. I bought a bunch of these over at Home Goods to play with, and they're great to test things out on. And it's the same material as like the Dunroven, which is my favorite tea towel to stitch on. So I'm just going to slide this on, and I'm going to pretend like I've got everything centered. But what I want to do is I want to come back here, and that's done. I'm going to go home. Okay. And once my little guy is dry and ready to go, I'm going to go to embroidery. And if you saved it like I told you to, or the first one like I told you to, what we're going to do is we're going to look for that one. So you may have a pocket, anywhere, you may have like a little machine, anywhere you save things, you know where they're at. Mine's in this pocket, and my machine, I saved it to my machine. It's already selected, and look, there it is right there. And there's the one that says Lest We Forget. That's the one I did earlier. So I'm going to click on that one, hit set, and now we're going to go to embroidery. And I just need 2 colors of thread for me. I'm just going to use the red and this dark gray. I don't like to use real harsh black on some of these projects. I like to use like a dark gray. It looks better to me. And now we're going to start the process. Y'all ready for this? Here we go. It's going to be fun. Let me get my stuff out of the way so I don't. There we go. All right. So I'm going to move my camera in just so you can watch what's happening. Sorry if it's a little wonky here. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Okay. So our very first stitch. Oops, my thread came. Our very first stitch is going to be our placement stitch for our big flower. So let's go ahead and hit start. And we're going to get that placement stitch going. Now, here's the thing. I get, especially with people who are new to their machine and new to IQ Designer, this is a running stitch. It does go around twice. No, we can't change that. If you don't want it to go around twice, you just stop it when it gets its first go around. This one, I'm using the 9.5 by 9.5. You could use a 5 by 7 if you didn't put any wording in there. If you put wording in there, you're going to want to use your 9.5 by 9.5 or your 10 and 5/8 by 10 and 5/8. Okay. Now I have my applique fabric. And I'm going to remove the paper backing from whatever webbing I used. I used the Hot Fix today. And I'm just going to place it over. No need to, since this piece is going to stay where it should stay, so you don't have to tape it in place, but you're more than welcome to. So I'm just going to start it. Hey, Peggy Ann, welcome. You can always rewatch. You can always go back and rewatch these videos. So if you're coming in a little late, don't worry about that. And again, this will go around twice just because. Let's see if I can get a better. Ugh, doesn't look as pretty on camera as it does in real person. And y'all know I'm dying over here with the red fabric. I'm like, oh, it's red. Oh. But it comes out really, really pretty in the end, I must say. So after this is done, we're going to trim on the outside, and then we're going to set it. Anytime. We're going to set it, okay? And what I mean by setting it, how do you get notifications that I am on? I keep missing you. Ooh, you know what? I'm not that I know there's some people in here that can answer that question. I think you can set a notification somehow. I'm just not that good at that stuff. So if someone can chime in with that, that would be great. I don't know, Cindy, maybe you can answer that. You're really good with this stuff. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to trim on the outside. And I'm just going to do it right here. I set an alarm on my phone. Oh, Kathy, that's good. Okay, so I'm just going to trim all this on the outside, get rid of it. But again, if you miss it or whatever, you can always rewatch. I number them, and then every few episodes, I go back and add them to my list. And there's a link that'll pop up with that list. So you can go straight to the video. And my hands are going to be in the way for a few minutes, guys. Just getting in there, getting around, getting as close as possible. It's hard to do with the camera in your way, but you know, details, right? Well, I must say that's flattering that, Kathy, that you set an alarm to watch me. I really appreciate that. It's kind of flattering. I mean, not kind of, it's very flattering. Thank you. Yes, when I'm cutting my applique, I have to turn it every which way. It just works best for me. And yes, I know this is not how you use duckbill scissors. Oh, there we go. Okay. So Pat says, tap on the three dots in the upper right corner. You can set a notification, and she's on her iPad. Okay, cool. Cool. Almost done. Now we're going to set this. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you're using a usable webbing or something like that that's on the back of the material to set it to whatever material you're embroidering it to, we need to heat set it, or basically glue it. We're going to call it gluing it, adhere it to the fabric. And you need to do it at this point, because if we do it afterwards, we're putting heat on top of embroidery stitches, and that's just not healthy. So normally what you want to have, oh gosh, I didn't find, where's my little, is you can take this over to your ironing board and press this, or if you have a small iron, and you're going to need something to put underneath it. So I have one of my a smaller wool pad. I'll place it underneath, so I'm not doing this directly on the bed of my machine. And I have my little Oliso awesome iron here, the mini project iron. So I'm going to just hold it there, let it set. And usually these are anywhere from 10 to whatever. Read your manufacturer's directions. And then you want to let it cool completely before you start embroidering it. That's very important, or else you'll get a gummy needle. And I don't like gummy needles. Okay, that should be good. If I weren't on camera, I'd probably let it go a little bit longer, but I do want to let that cool completely. So I'm not going to even put it back on. This is me being being cautious. I won't even put this back on until that's cool. So let me check out. She ironing on her machine. Okay, remember guys, I have something underneath. You never want to do it without something underneath there. And yes, I was ironing on my machine. So I was like, do. They're like, okay, I knew she was crazy, but she's really crazy. So you can get one of those. And they come in so many different sizes. So many different sizes that you can use. And this is how we've actually done it for years. I'm going to see if I can get Hope to re-release her In the Hoop hot pad back on her website. And it's an In the Hoop, or no, Hot Mama In the Hoop pad. And what it is it's designed to slip under your hoop to do exactly what I did. Because these are really thick. And if we maybe beg if we maybe beg Hope, she will re-release that design and we can all go get it and make little ironing things. Because we did a lot of applique, tons of applique. And it's easier to do it this way than get up, go all the way to your ironing board and then come back. All right, I'm pretty cool now. So I'm going to, this is going the right way, and slide it back on. Now my next step is going to be my pretty design or my pretty fill stitches. So that's going to stitch out first, then it'll do the satin stitch on the outside, and then I'm going to show you how to attach your flowers. And while that's stitching, actually, I'm going to move the camera with me. So I'm going to cover it up for just a second while that's stitching. And we're going to come over here. And it may not be the best lighting right here. No, it's terrible lighting. So let's get some good light on it. First, I need to untangle myself. Is that better? That's a little bit better. Okay, so I have there's my flower. I've let it soak long enough to let the wash away disappear. And all I do is literally with something this small, I just take and press the water out like this. I don't roll it. Bigger things I will roll. And then I let it dry. This dries so fast. You really could use this in like 20 minutes. So there we go. That's how you do it. All right, so let's move you back over to the machine. Sorry. Remember, I'm not great at this. I get us by though. There we go. Not too bad. Oh, your wool mat produces moisture. Okay, I'm going to talk to Hope about re-releasing. Oops, wait. I'm going to talk to Hope about re-releasing one of her designs and see if we can all go in there. I know it's not that expensive, but we can go and all order it. And it's created, you create it in the hoop, and then you can use it. It's really cool. It's called Hot Mama In the Hoop pad. If you have some of her older designs, you may have it. It's really cool. And it doesn't produce heat. So that makes sense with the wool. All right, so the next stitch is going to be the satin stitch on the outside, and we're almost there. Looks like my needle's getting a little dull. Now, if you see what mine's doing, it's just doing stitches here and there. Now, this is what happens when you bring them in as clip art. They're not all going to be perfect. They're not all going to stitch just but it will stitch out completely. Oh, that color looks terrible. Let's see if I can get it. Maybe because on this orange color, it just does not look good with that. So, but this is my practice piece, or to show you my stitch out piece for you guys. Donna, great question. Okay, so I did do that on this one. And I will go back, if you want to hang on, I did stipple. I will go back and show you that if y'all want to see that when this one's done. Because I did do that. I went back and said, oh gosh, I want to add something around the outside, but I'm already done with the design. What do? I'll show you exactly what to do. It's super easy. Good question. On the tea towel rows, I am using a sticky tearaway. It's just what I like to use for tea towels, regular towels, things that are hard to hoop. We call it hooping the unhoopable. So anything like that, it works great. I know some people use a sticky wash away on the back of it too. I'm just a tearaway girl, when it comes to this type of stuff. It works great for me. So whatever works for you, really. Right, coming into the home stretch here. I've already lost my flower. That's good news. Might have to use the damp one. Oh, I found it. You can also use a 50-50 tearaway stabilizer, which is really nice because 50% of the 50% of the fibers stay in while 50% of the fibers wash out, which are really good. You're still getting that stability. It's not all completely washed out. Okay, so remember now this is at the point where we're going to just stitch this little guy on. It's that little base. Okay, so here we go. I've got 2 tiny pieces of tape. And what I'm going to do is just kind of adjust it how I want it to look. I didn't want it to be the same way, so I just kind of turned it some. And I'm going to visually kind of set it in the center. And I'll take one little piece here and one little piece here just to hold it into place. And now this is just going to tack it down. So this is like your little tack down stitch. Done. And now I'm going to change the color because the last stitch is, or the last stitch of the flower is going to be the center of the flower, whatever that's called, all you gardening people. Now there are, the poppies do have like a little yellow piece in the center too. So you could add that in, you could add a second circle in there if you wanted to. You can really do whatever you want. Dress her up, dress her down, whatever you think. Okay, and now I'm just gonna let that stitch. Nothing's wrong with it if it starts somewhere else and it goes to another part. It'll fill in. So cute. Now, here's the point. If you had any words, it would stitch out the words. But otherwise, look at there. Look how cute. It's done. Isn't that fun? I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So, you know, you could do this with, like I said, different shaped flowers, daisies, or whatever else you want. I just like Gerber daisies. They're super cute. And so you could do it with different ones, but look how pretty that is. There's our poppy. Oh, so pretty. So the other question that we had a few seconds ago is, what if I've stitched this out and I realize I want to put, you know, maybe I'm going to make it into a pillow or something. And I want to put a fill around it. Well, I would tell you not to leave it in the hoop where it is exactly. And then, because that's what I did for this guy. I was like, oh, I had it all stitched out and everything. And then I was like, wait, it needs some quilting around it. So what am I going to do? Okay, well, I left it hoop. And this is what you do. Super easy. I still have the design up on my screen. Let me get this back where it should be. And let's make it a little bit easier to see. There we go. There we go. Okay. So, of course. Hey, Ronnie. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to hit the return button, and I need to be in my, this is your edit screen, your embroidery edit screen. And what you're going to do, and it doesn't matter if you have lettering down here or whatever, what you're going to do is you're going to go to edit, and we're going to do an outline of it. So you want to come down here to this little flower. Remember, this is in the embroidery. Oops. But look what happened. It only took one part of my design. So what you need to do, we're going to select cancel, is we need to group all this together. So it would happen the same way if you had words. So you have a little key that looks like this. It's a circle, square, and triangle somewhere on your screen. You're going to click on it, and you see these little pink boxes. We want to tap that so everything on the screen turns pink together. So I'm going to select OK. And now I can select my little flower and everything's going to be together. So I like to move my outline a little bit further away from it so it just doesn't impede on it. And that's whatever visually looks good to you. So I'm going to move it out a little bit more than that. A little bit more than that. There we go. That looks good to me. And then you're going to have a key down here that either says memory or IQ designer, or it might look like a flower. It might be something. Go ahead and select whatever's down here at the bottom right. And it's going to tell me something. It's going to say, Anna, you're going to find this outline shape in IQ designer, and you're going to find it in the key that looks like this, your circle square. And I'm going to say, okay, thanks. Now, what I'm going to do next is select add. I'm going to go to add IQ designer. And remember, it told me to do something. It said to find this key right here, this circle square. I'm going to tap on that. And then I'm going to do two things though. The first thing I'm going to do is tell it what hoop I have on. So I'm using my 9.5 by 9.5. So I'm going to come up here to this key. This is your this is your hoop key. So let's tap that. And I'm using my 9.5 by 9.5. I'm going to say okay. And then I'm going to go back to the shapes key, the circle square. And remember that little flower we used earlier? We're going to select on that. So we're going to tap that and look, there it is right there. So I'm going to tap that, say okay. And what you'll be able to see is a very faint line or box on the outside of your design. That is your hoop right there. Now, we don't want to use the one up here, I promise you. You want to use the one that's in here. Now we can go to our fill properties, which is this grouping right here. We can select a fill. I'm just going to use the stipple. You can use anything you want. I'm going to select a color because I can and say okay. I'm going to turn my bucket on and I'm going to tap outside of the flower, but inside the box. I'm then going to select next. And this is where I can change what it looks like. And if you have another fill, you can change what it looks like. This is just what the stipple looks like. I'm going to space it out some more. Whoa, that's going to be way too much. I think it's around 3. I like it. There we go. Let's say I was happy with that. And then all I would have to do, depending on what machine you have, if you have a Meridian, Altair, or a Destiny, you'll hit preview OK, set OK, or set OK. And there it is. And then, even though you've already stitched this out, let's pretend like I already stitched it out. Now, all I would have to do is go to embroidery. And I don't have to go through all these steps. I can just go to my plus minus right down here. And I can look for just the stippling. So I can either go down a bunch of them or up one. There's my stippling. And now that's the only thing that's going to stitch out. Pretty cool, huh? I love that feature. It's so cool. Okay. Well, oops. That's my chair hitting things. Let's switch it back over to me and let's see if I have any questions. Isn't that fun? I think that this just came out adorable, and it's really pretty, and it's a great little thing to hang at this time of year. So to remind us that there are people watching over us and taking very good care of us. We may not agree with everything, but we do know that there are some great people out there that will go and fight for our freedom and fight for our rights. And I think that's very important to be a little patriotic, not crazy patriotic, but I'm patriotic. Okay. Okay. So let's see if there's any questions. Well, I hope you feel better, Judy. Thank you guys. So thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great week. Remember, that we need to, what did I forget to do? Maker of the week last week. I probably did because I was like crazy. But remember to post what you make to the group. I love to see what you make. And then, I always on Mondays post up a maker of the week. And I'd love to see what y'all do with this design, how you have fun with it. Just Google some pretty flower clip art and do some different ones. Have fun with those. But I hope you guys have a safe and safe Memorial Day. I hate to say happy because you know what it is, but hope you have a safe Memorial Day. Hope you get to spend it with family and friends or friends. We're actually going to go see the new Top Gun movie, so we're excited about that. That'll be kind of fun. And have a great one. Thank you guys again so much for coming. Remember, you can always rewatch this at any time. And if you have any questions, just let us know on the group. We'll answer them. And if you need any help, just let me know. Thank you again for coming today. And I hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you next week. And happy Memorial Day and all that. Remember to always shop local, shop small, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.